Now, there are very obvious signs that I'm right. The first one is, why would somebody who has been outspoken against psychiatry for over 7 years now volunteer for a psychiatric experiment or consent to covert drugging? Why wouldn't he just take the drugs himself? You know, why would he sign up for something that says, well, you can covertly drug me, you know, and I'll make tons of videos about it complaining. But more importantly, what I want to leave you with is the idea that they're not trying to help me. You can tell by the signs here, okay? Do you troll somebody if you're trying to help them? Do you provoke somebody if you're trying to help them? The prank calls. Do you sabotage their love life? Now think about it. The latest studies, and they've been out, in all these studies, this is something society has known for a long time, right? It's when a guy doesn't have his intimacy needs fulfilled, that he's very irritable, right? He's very angry. And we all know that a handsome gentleman such as myself, who's mobile, who's very insightful, is not going to have too much trouble finding an attractive woman. Okay, to sabotage my love life, to try to get me to settle. This is eugenic philosophy by definition. Everything they're doing is textbook eugenics. The idea that, the political dissident needs to be addressed more than the idiot, imbecile, and moron. Read Adam Gohan's book, Imbeciles, and he's a Harvard lawyer, Harvard Law School graduate, rather. So when you look at it, you cannot possibly make the argument that they're trying to help me. The only logical argument that can be made, the only option there is that they are trying to ruin my life, cause me to flip out and be violent. And to, when you look at who are the other target individuals, Aaron Alexis, Myron May, how many violent episodes of, that targeted individuals have before they realize that this isn't a good idea? It is the target individuals doing a lot of these shootings, not some person who's off his medication. It's somebody who's targeted. Think of all the people who don't take medication that psychiatrists want to. Now think of the small group of people who are targeted or who have claimed to be targeted, by the government. It is the people that they are targeting that are turning to violence. So on so many levels, it makes no sense. Now, let's look at the most obvious level of all. Since 2012, they've been drugging me. If a psychiatrist cannot stabilize someone on medication within a few months, then why do we have psych wards that typically release people in 2 weeks? So what do you call 4 years of an inability to quote-unquote stabilize someone on medication? If their intention was to stabilize me on medication, wouldn't they have done so by now, like they do to people at the psych ward? No, their intention is to destabilize me. And that's why it might not be the antipsychotic that they're drugging with me, at least not alone. It's probably a cocktail of drugs that includes drugs that were taken off the market because of their high rate of side effects and, causing people to lose their reservations about violence and to be violently inclined. No, all the evidence doesn't just suggest, it definitively shows that what they're doing is not to help me. And because these institutions are quite often associated with helping people, psychiatric institutions, psychiatry, law enforcement. There's a lot of bootlickers who drank the Kool-Aid, who believe that cops are out to help people. Because of this, I believe at least some of these people are dumb enough to think that they're trying to help me, you know? Because it's very hard to believe that they will recruit thousands of people across the country to target different people. And all the people they recruit would know that what they're doing is trying to drive this person insane. Now, I know for sure that there's a large percent of them that do know that. You know, Freemasons, for example, know that. Many people in the military either suspect or know that. Many of these white supremacist cops know that. But not everyone who is doing this knows that. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone suspects it, but at the same time, I highly doubt it. And you've got to hate the police, you know. First of all, Black Lives Matter is a controlled movement, okay? I know that for 100% fact. But when it comes to the argument between police and violent gang members, black gang members, for example, which represents perhaps the worst demographic within the black community, cops actually lose that argument. The most threatening black person is nowhere near as harmful to society as these out-of-control pigs are. They have no excuse for what they're doing. Why didn't they become a fireman if they wanted to help society? Why didn't they become a paramedic? You know, why did they become a violent, heartless pig? And when they became that, why didn't they retire? Why didn't they resign? When they have seen what they've become, why didn't they stop doing what they're doing? Because they're bad people. They're bad people who operate under the color of law. You know, a criminal with a badge will always be worse than a criminal without one. When you're talking about these low-level violent crimes and, you know, we talk about non-white collar crime. A criminal with a badge will always be worse than a criminal without one. And I know this 100% certain. There's gang members and cops give me a hard time. And I tell you the truth. The cops are the worst by far. You know, it is their job to prevent this. They're not only just as criminal as the gang members, but they are abusing their authority. You know, it's impossible to respect someone like that and be wise. It's impossible not to see it that they're worse. So when you see a conflict between corrupt cops and the black community, even if it was only gang members, which it's not, you would be an idiot not to side with the black community. I don't care how much of a flag-waving ninja. I don't care if you served your entire life. I don't care if you're an army brat from generations of military servicemen and women. I mean, this is very obvious. This is very simple here. It's very straightforward. Gang stalking cannot take place without corrupt fucking law enforcement officials, period. So therefore, they are the most guilty. They are a must-have. They are the key ingredient. And they have the least excuse. I mean, we all expect shrinks and big pharma to be greedy. We expect gang members to be criminals. We expect poor people to be desperate. We expect secret societies to stab us in the back and do this bitch shit. They're all dead wrong for it. But the police, we may expect it, but we shouldn't expect it. And the fact that they continue to do it shows that they have no excuse. You know, if they are really a man of morality or principle, they wouldn't do this. They would say, you know what? This is not what I became a cop for. I resign. This is not what I became an FBI agent for. I resign. I mean, isn't that a no-brainer? And I would go as far as to say that some of the good ones have resigned and we're left with all the corrupt criminal scum.